Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Helki. As you see in the title, I want to share with you how I work with the tarot using colors, and this has only really been a recent thing. You can do this just with a tarot deck, or you can do what I like to do, which is using an oracle deck alongside. So you can do this with any spread that you like or any way that you like to pull cards. It's completely intuitive process. It can work with any way that you want to use the cards. The spread I'm going to use as an example today would be a 3-card spread, which is the mind, body and soul. You can use any tarot deck. I've got a few out here as examples just to show you maybe what ones would work better compared to others. You could of course use the classic Rider-Waite, because we're looking at colors here, and as you can see in the Rider-Waite there is definitely a good range of color going on here, and you often see like certain colors dominate in each card, and that is definitely something that really helps when I'm using color to read further into the messages of the card. A not so great option would be like a black and white. Obviously that goes without saying. You could use a black and white deck if you're using an oracle with color alongside it. If you are wanting to use the colors in the tarot deck, obviously that makes sense. It's not going to work. This you could use, okay? So I can see there is a lot of color here, but it's definitely more sort of kind of mixed within each image. I'm not like looking at one of these images and there is certain ones like here, this is very white, so you would get this white energy from that. This is very dark, but I personally wouldn't use this kind of colored deck for reading color. That's just because for me the colors aren't like speaking to me. I would more read the numbers or the imagery in the card intuitively, as well as what I know about that card. My favorite deck to use for this is my partner Trey's deck, which is this, I think it's called the Cosmos or Cosmic Tarot, because this really to me speaks to me through color, and it actually was this deck that prompted me to start reading the color. So here, even this guy, his skin is blue, everything's kind of tinged blue. I'm definitely getting blue from that. And I like the way the colors kind of bleed in. Like this is a very blue and greeny, yellowy mix. So I will use this one today as my example spread for you. My favorite oracle to use alongside it right now is this deck, which is the Sacred Creators Oracle, because this is a colorway deck. So obviously a colorway oracle deck is the best way to go. Here you can just see every card, it's all about the colors, right? And that's what we want. But you could also use any other oracle deck that you feel has a good range of color within it. So this would be another good example, my favorite dragon oracle deck. You could just alone be like, that's green, and pick up just on the border colors here, because the border colors change. But you could also use the images, because I feel like the images also really speak to me through their color. So it doesn't have to be a colorway deck, that's all I'm trying to say. So when we are reading the cards with color, you can go into studying like symbolically what the colors mean. I never went down that route. It just didn't call to me. I tend to really enjoy reading the most when I'm reading intuitively, and I'm just accepting whatever messages are coming straight into me, whether it aligns with the original meaning of the card or not. And it speaks to me through, colors, through the numbers, through the imagery. And of course, I'm definitely influenced by my knowledge of the cards and what I know each card to mean through study, but that doesn't always determine for me how the reading is going. What I'll do is shuffle and pull 3 cards for each. So you want to pull your tarot spread as you were originally planning. As I said, I was doing a 3-card spread, mind, body, soul. And then you want to pull a color card for each of those to match up with it. So obviously I could just do the reading like this alone and intuitively read the colors from these cards alone, and that definitely works too. And sometimes it could even make it more difficult for you to use an oracle deck because, say, the colors come out very different from the tarot that was pulled, and that can throw us off sometimes. But I tend to see it more as an addition, an underlay or an overtone, right? I will pull a color card for each of the cards in the spread, and here I'm not reading the words on the card at all, okay? These cards have prompts, like most oracles have prompts. So just okay, I'm just gonna pull a different card for this because that was basically to the same card. And obviously you wouldn't do that in a real reading. This isn't a real reading. This is just an example spread, so I wanted to have a bit more variety going on there with this. Okay, so we have a bit more of a range going on. And also what you can see is we have sort of 2 colors in this card and just 1 block color in this card. And interestingly, this card is very matching with this card, right? Like I said, I'm not going off a script or anything that I've been told these colors mean. It's like, what do these colors make me feel? What do these colors remind me of? And going with what first comes to mind, So let's start here. We're reading the section for mind, and these are the 2 cards that we have. For the purpose of this video, I'm ignoring the oracle. I often would if I'm bringing oracle cards in for the purpose of their color, I might use the numbers and the color, but I definitely don't normally read the message on them, to be honest. So here we can see is these definitely have completely different vibes. So that's interesting to start with. So the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm looking at these is, okay, this card definitely makes me think green. There's a lot of green placed within this. And obviously a little bit of blue and brown and white, but green for me is a color that's really standing out for me. And green for me, it really kind of speaks to me. Weirdly, it's not of nature, even though I'm looking out my window now and it's just green everywhere, green trees, green grass. But for me, green really reminds me of money and abundance and like being very focused in that way, right? And for you, green could mean nature and whatever it means for you. So you need to take what it means for you. But for me, and it depends how the green is displayed as well. So it depends what shade of green, but this is just the way that it's displayed is that it's very square, very rigid. And that's why it's reminding me of very four energy, very square, very logical and financially focused, right? But here we have this very different vibe going on, where we have the pinky purple going in with the red and the orange here. And what I wanted to notice about this is how this line really stands out to me. It seems like the red is really bleeding out, especially onto this side, right? So for me, red can definitely mean anger or passion, or like a fiery, heated energy, right? And pink, for me, definitely means like soft, gentle compassion and love. And we also have the orange here. So how can I relate these cards together? First, I noticed that there is a similarity between the background, the orange here. That would definitely bring my attention to, hang on a minute, what is going on in the background? What is going on behind the scenes, okay? So to maybe pay attention to that. Then I have the green here which is making me think finances. And obviously we have the fact that it's a Four of Pentacles, which I know is that kind of energy where you're very rigid. You're already holding on to things. You're scared of taking a chance. You're scared of letting go. What I am getting when I use the color here is okay, I'm being drawn to the background. There's something going on in the background. There's a lot of focus on the finances, but it's hang on, there's something else going on. It could be a call to bring some awareness around what we have here, which is this kind of red, which is really seeming to bleed into and affect the compassion and love. So it's okay, while you're so focused on, Four of Pentacles, what you don't want to lose, what you're holding on to with the green here, that makes me think of money and career. Maybe you're so focused on that you're not seeing the sort of damage that it's doing in other aspects of your life. So there could be a need to have more love and compassion going on in your life. Maybe you're neglecting that, and that there's this kind of tense energy, which could be related to the red, which is, for me, can represent anger, frustration, passions, and it's that is bleeding out and taking over the presence of love and compassion in your life. So again, we have the Four of Pentacles, but it's the orange that brought me to the background here. I know it's not exactly the same color, but for me, they're close enough, and that's what came to me. And it might not even make sense to you what I'm saying, and I could pick these cards up on a different day and read them completely differently, but I'm just saying that I'm completely using my intuition, going with what first comes to me and allowing that to be the reading. So that was my trail of thought. Okay, first I see the green and the fact that it's a Four of Pentacles. I can see there's this tenseness around money and career. Then I see this orange is connecting with the background. So whilst you're so focused on the career or the finances, in the background, what you don't see is the background bringing me to this card is that there's tension and possibly frustration and anger that is bleeding out in other parts of your life, and it's affecting your area of love and compassion in your life. So that is how I would read this card. So for me, the mind shows what is conscious. So I know that the client would be aware of this, right? Or me, if I'm reading for myself, I would be aware of this. Okay, maybe I need to think about what consequences my focus being here, and that tension of the Four of Pentacles, of that not letting up, right, is how it's affecting things that aren't related to that, right? So then here we have the body. So this is like, this is what can be affecting people physically within their body, their physical needs and urges, all those things that affect the body. What's so interesting about this is, unlike that card where these colors are quite different, these colors are very similar. And this is a really intense Ten of Swords, right? Wow. That's crazy intense, kind of scary. And again, I'm not looking at the words, so you really have to just really focus on the colors here. The Ten of Swords in general feels like, okay, this is as bad as it's gonna get. It's only up from here, right? And again, we have that kind of confirmed here with the sun shining in the background, like a new day is coming. There is hope, because for me, yellow is definitely, the color of hope, the color of joy, the color of happiness. But yellow could have a completely different meaning for you. That's just how, when I see yellow, it makes me feel that way. It makes me feel joy. It feels bright. It feels positive. And then it's interesting because it's for a Ten of Swords cups, there's really not a lot of dark in here, right? I can see there is this peachy pink. So peachy pink for me, it has this softness to it. It's a very soft, gentle energy. It's kind of similar to pink, love and compassion. But I almost think it's more of a kinship rather than like that romance that I see in the pinks. This is more of, a light, loving friendship, right? Like a warm hug. So here I can see that, look, things have been really tough with this Ten of Swords. Like, this is the body as well. So you've been physically feeling it. You've either not been physically able to receive the needs that you need, or your physical health has been feeling challenging recently. You've really been going through a tough time, maybe with physical pain or something. But it's to know that, look, you've pushed through the worst of it. Now things are warming up. Things are only going to get better. The sun is coming out. But more than anything, this peach really confirms to me that you have that beautiful loving support in your life. Whether that comes in the form of, your spiritual practice and your connection with God or the universe, is going to feel like that loving, beautiful, compassionate support of a good friend, or even literally a good friend pulling through and really helping you pick yourself up in this time. And it's definitely more of a pinky peach in both sides here, so I definitely feel like it does have a real emphasis on that love and that compassion. And what it's also speaking to me is, it's saying self-love. That is what's really going to help you get through this, is, okay, understanding you're going through a hard time, and how can I really support myself? How can I give myself a lot of self-love in this moment? And then lastly, we have these two cards. So it's a very blue energy. And again, if I was looking at this, I would be thinking of blues and yellows. Clearly, it's a very blue and yellow card, and this is the Fool card. So here we have a very blue card with these white borders, but the blue is bleeding into the white quite a bit here, which is interesting. So I would always note that, like, here I have the blue bleeding into the yellow. So that always speaks to me as well. How the colors blend really does speak to me too. The other thing I can't help but notice that I would definitely pick up on if this was a real reading is, we have the Fool, which is a 0, and then this card earlier was a 000. So for me, I naturally pick up on the numerology. So I would have likely picked up on that too. This is the soul. So it's like, what is, the soul trying to say to you right now, trying to speak to you through these cards, right? And this will be the unconscious. So it's like what you're not aware of, or the client's not aware of. Let's go in with the colors. We already know yellow to me makes me think of joy, happiness, a new day, the sun's come out, the clouds have cleared, right? But blue is very much the opposite for me. Blue for me is like, they have that saying, I'm blue, I'm down. When I see the color blue, it's cold. It's a very cold color. So here we have this like cold color bleeding into this very warm, happy color. So it's very contradicting energies here for me. White for me is very much a blank slate, fresh start. It just makes me think of canvas that you can create whatever you want on it. It's this opportunity to start again, kind of like the aces or that kind of energy where you have this opportunity to see things differently, to create and manifest what you want. And what's interesting here is that in the center of the sun it is white. I feel like through the joy, through the yellow, through your joy, you can find a fresh start. You can find a new beginning. You're in a transition right now where you're moving from this dark down kind of energy of the blue. You're very slowly transitioning. Because we have the bleeding, it makes me think that there is a bit of up and down here. To begin with, you're going to be up and down, but eventually you will find your joy again. And then we can say this is the Fool card. So that is about taking a leap of faith, right? Jumping off that cliff, that unconsciously, whether you realize it or not, you're moving from darker status quo. Like maybe it would be more the default for you to easily go into anxiety or depression or be down, right? It'd be easy for you to feel that negative, to feel hopeless and powerless, right? You're moving from that being a default to the yellow here being a default, and seeing how there's brand new opportunities within that. But knowing that it's not something that changes overnight, that you're going to be in and out for a while with that bleeding. And then I think this for me feels more like a warning with the way the colour is presented. So here we have a very clear line where we can see the white, the opportunity for that new perspective, that fresh start is very clear cut. But here, is this the bottom of the card? It's upside down. So if you turn this the right way up, it looks like to start with, you might find more negative mindset sort of bleeding in to this fresh start that you have. But to know that over time, so if you say over time we go down, it will become very clear cut for you that you will have more of an awareness around your state of mind and how you can work with that or manipulate that to your own benefit, and know that you don't want to bring that into the new and keeping that separate. So that was me just reading off the cusp there for a sample reading. Obviously, it's always a lot easier to read when you are actually reading for someone or for yourself, but I think I did give you quite a good example of how I intuitively read colours using the tarot. And I've been having a lot of fun reading this way lately, and I feel like I've been getting some very interesting messages, and much more about energy, much more about the mood, like, bringing more of that, because really everything is how we feel, right? We can be in paradise on the beach, but if we're feeling blue, it doesn't really matter that we're in paradise on the beach, because how we feel really determines how we live our life, and how we feel every day determines our future, our dreams, our present moment. Everything changes from how we feel. We could be cleaning rubbish off the street, but be in a really good mood, be feeling loving and compassionate, just like here, it's someone going through really hard times, but they're able to find self-love and see a better future and have hope and joy within that moment. So when I read this Ten of Swords, it's going to be very different to when I read this Ten of Swords. And that is what's really fun about using different decks and bringing color into it. Because we do have that bit of a yellow. There's a lot more darkness here. So with this, I'm really getting, with just looking at the color alone, that it's like, wow, this person's further along in their Ten of Swords journey. This person is already at the cusp of finding hope and self-love, and able to have this fresh start here. Whereas this one, I feel like this person needs a bit more encouragement to be able to see the light that's in the distance, because it seems like the light for this person is a bit further away, that they're still in their heavy darkness. And whereas this card makes me feel like they've got that wisdom of going through some really hard times, and they're already starting to see the light and feel like there's a chance that things can only get better from here. So what I'm saying is, by reading the color intuitively like this, and especially if you have a lot of different decks, it really helps bring more diversity to your readings. It helps you see a card differently, not always see a card and automatically go into exactly what you know about the Ten of Swords, and just reading from that perspective, or even just the images alone, because this image is probably just as, if not more, frightening than this. But using the color, I actually got a much more positive reading out of that card than I would maybe this card, for example. So it can really help you switch up your readings, make them more diverse, and just help you become a better all-round reader, and continue to enjoy reading, that it doesn't become monotonous as well, where you are literally, just thinking of your keywords or what it is from your studies, but you're genuinely, tapping in to that beautiful intuition of yours and putting it to use. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you use color within your tarot readings? And if you enjoyed this, if you learned anything new here, or you felt inspired, that's all I was hoping to do with this, was just to inspire you to really enjoy using color and bringing, most importantly, your intuition into it, remembering, how does a color make you feel? Not how I saw these colors today, but how does color make you feel? And be open to it changing every day. Not every time I see pink, I think of like love and compassion or self-love and things like that, because it might be such a different kind of energy I'm feeling, a different shade of pink that's like, whoa, this is giving me, this is making me feel something completely different, like maybe a magenta, which for me is a color I don't particularly like. I'm not a fan of like bright magenta pinks. So for me, that might make me personally feel like, oh, this feels a bit, chauvinistic maybe. I wouldn't necessarily at all be getting the same message I would get from like a soft peachy pink. So really being open to that and knowing that you as an individual can bring such a different meaning, because we all see the world so differently, right? We all see colors differently. We all have different colors that we like and enjoy, and different colors that we dislike. And that's the beauty of reading this way, is it really shakes up the reading and helps you dive a lot deeper, and again tap into the feelings and the emotions of the reading and what's going on. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this, guys. Sending you all my love and blessings. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you've not. It really helps me and encourages me to keep posting here for you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.